നമസ്കാരം. CPIM പോളിറ്റ് ബ്യൂറോ അംഗം ബൃന്ദ കാരാട്ട് നമുക്കൊപ്പമുണ്ട്. സംസ്ഥാന സമ്മേളനത്തിൻ്റെ പശ്ചാത്തലത്തിൽ ദേശീയ സാഹചര്യങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് അവർ നമ്മളോട് സംസാരിക്കും. Over to Brinda. Comrade, the DPR of the 23rd Party Congress has pointed out the worsening condition of women in India. Right. How does the intersectionality of class, gender and caste play out in the context of increased influence of Manuvadi ideologies?
I think that's a very important question, because if you look at the years between 2014 and 2021, now of course we're in 22, when the BJP and RSS have been in power, and how they have used that power in the government to push their ideology in the Hindutva understanding that they have. How does it impact on women? It's not as though women were very free or doing very well under other regimes.
Right.
Because if you look at the capitalist system all over the world, even the most developed so-called democracies, as far as women's secondary status is concerned, patriarchy is always strengthened by capitalism and the policies it uses to save itself.
Right.
So the neoliberal phase, we have in fact seen gender inequalities grow, although women have had new fields open up to them.
Right.
I mean, you've seen in the last, I'm talking about global capitalism, and you've seen in the last, 2 decades, say, so many areas of work where educated young women have been able to move into, which is a positive thing. But the inequality within those frameworks have been quite startling. In India also, ever since the neoliberal policies began, we have seen how patriarchal structures, which are actually entrenched in our social setup, have been actually strengthened by neoliberalism. When the BJP RSS came, firstly this was accentuated because the BJP RSS, with its totally pro-corporate policies, has encouraged labor practices which have actually destroyed the organized sector and the labor market by making it even more unequal. And as far as women are concerned, they were already in the unorganized sector.
Right.
And now, because of contractualization, because of the lack of jobs, because of privatization and liberalization, even the minimum reserved categories for Dalit and Adivasi women, what they could get, has also been greatly reduced, slashed,
Right.
drastically slashed. So one is the economic inequality has grown, but I would say along with that, the most, something which is really affecting women is the kind of ideological framework that is being set up in a planned manner by the BJP to spread superstition, to spread obscurantism, to use women's religiosity and turn it into ritualism, which has very little to do with faith, but everything to do with division.
Right.
So the use of religion is something which has, for political purposes, I think it has had a very detrimental effect on women. Also because to use religion and religious sanction for patriarchal practices which consider women unequal. I mean, women walking 7 steps behind the husband, that is the absolute picture of Manuva. But the thing is, it may not be in that form, but certainly in their minds, women are homemakers, women are children producers, which is fine. We are homemakers and we do produce children. But that is not our only role. But if it is seen that that is your only role, if somebody like Mohan Bhagwat can say that, your main role has to be as a homemaker, so you have to be at home, you have to be good wives, the Hindu sanskar and the Hindu sanskriti, Adarsh Parivar, what does it mean? The ideal family on the basis of a woman's subordinate role, a domesticated role. And when the Prime Minister says, oh, we are giving women independence, you're giving women independence about everything except their own bodies.
Right.
Population control. What is the UP bill? This Yogi has brought what law? A woman, if you have more than 2 children, you are going to be denied benefits, you are going to be... Who are you to decide how many children I'm going to have or not have? Then they say independence, but they don't allow a young woman to decide her own partner. Love jihad, honor killings. So on the basic issues of women's independence and autonomy, Manuvadi understanding, a wife always 7 steps back. That's what the BJP RSS has been.
Propagating.
And you can see it, in the kind of sexist statements they make. Na?
Right. And, Comrade, in the hijab issue in Karnataka, we hear the war cries of Jai Sri Ram. But in the against this, it was countered by the Allahu Akbar slogan. How does the CPM view it? And what is the alternative we can give?
You see, I think it is absolutely outrageous and appalling that the BJP government in Karnataka has allowed and given license and encouraged criminals wearing saffron scarves to harass, bully, intimidate, heckle, threaten young women who are wearing hijabs. What is this double standards? Will you stop a young boy who's wearing a turban going into the college or the school? How is it? If a girl wears a dupatta over her head in any Punjabi school, are you going to stop her? Why should covering the head, and it's not even actually called hijab, hijab is something else. People confuse burqa and hijab. This is a headscarf. This is not a burqa which is completely concealing your face so the teacher can't see and recognize how much you are learning or not learning. So this is only a headscarf, and it's been worn in schools all over India it's never been an issue. So now to make it an issue and to prevent the right to education and to communalize it in the way they have, you are targeting a Muslim girl. How dare you do it? Who has given you permission to do it? The right to education is a law. The right to education does not say that the right to education will be denied to girls who wear the hijab. I think it's one of the most appalling steps taken by the Karnataka government. I was also very disappointed with the single bench court, which did not give an interim order of relief. On the other hand, it allowed the government circular. That government circular, it was admitted by their own counsel in the court that it is full of mistakes.
Right.
How can you prevent a girl from going? So that is one aspect. There are no ifs and buts. Secondly, I congratulate that girl because she was brave. And the first slogan which came to her was remembering her God. I will definitely not equate that in any way to the criminals and the gundas who were chasing her and heckling her. The fact is, as far as if you talk about women's rights and women's autonomy, of course we know there are fundamentalists in the Muslim community who are dead against it. We are opposed to that. But a girl will decide what she wants to wear. Hijab is not going against the... I support uniform. I think it's important because rich and poor, rich kids will wear all their branded clothes and come and... So a uniform is okay. A hijab is perfectly part of that. You can decide the color of the hijab. Earlier some colleges had decided. If it's a grey dupatta, you wear a grey hijab.
Right.
So there's no question about it. And I think this is only to divide, disrupt, to target young Muslim girls. And I think it is a shame on the BJP, and more than that, it is a shame on the Prime Minister for keeping silent.
Right.
Sometimes keeping silent and not saying anything is louder than any message.
Yeah.
And by keeping silent, the Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat was heard loud and clear. He did not stop this cruel step, cruel communal step taken by his supporters in Karnataka. It was very, very bad, and it still is.
Yeah, it's a part of sharpening the communal polarization in the society.
I think you're absolutely right, Sajid. Yeah. It is very much sharpening the And if you look at it, they also had an eye on UP elections.
Right.
And other elections. They don't care about right to education. They are looking at their votes.
Yeah.
The BJP's default strategy, when in doubt, use the communal card.
That's the only weapon left for them.
And they may have many weapons. They have, I say, because, we're all now involved, and you also, to see how social media is. I would say the BJP's IT cell, they have a lie manufacturing factory.
Right.
I would rather call it the Bharatiya Janata Party's lie manufacturing factory. They manufacture lies, they manufacture fake news, they spread messages of hate, and they have the support of those in power.
Yeah, in such a situation, the main opposition party, the so-called main opposition party, Congress is keeping mum on this, all of this shit. At the same time, they are playing as a junior partner of BJP also.
In our 23rd Party Congress political resolution, we have a section on political parties,
right,
including the left, including the CPIM, and including a self-critical view of where we are today. But in each of those political parties, like the BJP, our main focus is against BJP, a communal, pro-corporate, authoritarian party, going by the fascistic agenda of the RSS to impose Hindutva. And most unfortunately, as you have very correctly said, the Congress is the main opposition party. Where does it stand today? Because of its lack of ideological commitment, its own leaders are quitting the party and joining the BJP. People say, if you vote for the Congress, actually, there's no guarantee they will not join the BJP. Why does that happen? One, the Congress as a ruling class party, committed to neoliberal reform. I mean, when Rahul ji says, ye suit boot ki, oh, this Adani, Ambani. Who has supported Adani and Ambani? And who has brought in neoliberal policies?
Right.
And who has first started all these policies? So what we have said in our resolution, the Congress is a party of the ruling classes, led by the big bourgeoisie. It represents them, but today it is greatly weakened because BJP has become the dominant force.
Right.
We have said that in our resolution. Secondly, we have said, the Congress now is not in a position, because of its losing strength, to give the leadership to fight against the BJP, rallying all the forces who can be rallied. That is what is the main opposition party? That is what a role should be, but it's not in a position. And thirdly, what we have said is, very clearly, that instead of fighting ideologically, they are very often adopting a compromising line towards the BJP. So, as far as the Congress is concerned, and our party Congress resolution has very specifically come to Kerala in that background and said, here you are having a direct and indirect understanding with the BJP, the
Right.
Congress. So that is the thing. So issue here is how we strengthen the left, how we strengthen our own party, and how we fight for our ideology as far as women are concerned, as far as Dalits, as far as Adivasis, minority rights. We have never compromised.
Yeah, comrade. In the UP elections, Congress have put candidates in all constituencies. Previously, in the Bihar elections also, Congress has played a spoiler's role.
No doubt.
And in your opinion, how the Congress not willing to accept their weaknesses?
I can't speak on behalf of the Congress, frankly. I mean, they'll have to answer that question. And really, every party has got its own understanding of a situation. And if they want to fight all the seats and, expose their weakness, that is up to them. It's their strategy. So I don't want to comment on that. But what I can say is in Uttar Pradesh, the historic Kisan struggle and the attitude of the Modi government towards it, the hostility, as though they were enemies of the country, as though you are dealing with an enemy force, as though you are dealing with cross-border terrorism. That is the way that they looked at the Kisans. It was just absolutely shocking. And Kisans remember that. And all the efforts of the BJP, which they tried in the last elections in West UP to divide the peasant, the Jat and the Muslim, this time there seems to be a very strong unity among farmers, among the peasantry. And that is going to really very severely impact and defeat the BJP strategy. That's what the general feeling is in that area. And in other areas also, there is an anti-BJP feeling in Uttar Pradesh now. But the way the BJP is using its money, the way they are putting everything into it, the way they are using the administration, it's shocking. There have been videos all over in which the administration official is telling people where they have to vote. And what is the Election Commission doing, I'd like to know. I mean, is it the Election Commission or is it a vote-giving commission to the BJP? I don't know. I mean, is it there to have a free and fair election, or is it there to ensure or try for the victory of a losing candidate, which is the BJP?
Right.
So, in these elections, 3 or 4 things have come out. One, the role of the Election Commission, which has been very questionable. The role of the Election Commission in preventing communal propaganda. Did you know? Not a single notice to Amit Shah, to the Prime Minister. Why? Are they above the law? Are there some avatar which has appeared, or kuch mat kehna? What is it? So the role of the Election Commission in these elections, the role of money, the electoral bond system which was brought in. Now the latest figures have come. 95% of all the thousands of crores which corporates have given, they have all gone to BJP. It's just shocking. I mean, it's really a kind of, BJP will go.
Right.
Governments will come and go. But what they're doing is they're destroying even parliamentary democracy and all the institutions in India.
Right. Okay, comrade. Thank you for cooperating with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.